Today is going to be a video about Wolfpack. Now, Wolfpack is, well, it's your average, teenage werewolf show, but it's a lot different. I will give it that. It's very different from any werewolf show you've watched. I mean, you could say that it's very similar in a lot of ways, but I really like how they managed to take something that's been done so much and, have their own version of it. Because it's really different, and that's what I like about it. But yeah, it's pretty much your average, teenagers and werewolves and stuff like that. But it does have a twist. Each member, or each separate member of the pack, has a different power. And when they're all together, they can all use them. Like, one has strength, one has speed, one has smell, and one has hearing. And when they're all together, like I said, they can use all of those powers collectively. But yeah. Now let's get to the my thoughts part of this video. I've explained enough, lore or whatever, because I don't want to completely spoil it, but I at least want to give, my rating of this. So I'm not going to spoil it, so if you want to continue watching, fine, but there might be some minor spoilers in here. Now, let's start off with something that definitely has no spoilers, and that's the fact of suspense. I really liked of how they, would drive up a scene. It would be something that wasn't that special, or something that wasn't, it was pretty normal, but they were able to transform it into something that, wasn't normal, even when it was. They are very good at, having suspense, and a lot of shows sometimes overdo it, and I think this show is actually pretty good at not overdoing things for the most part. But the thing that I liked the most about this show is on the full moon, they didn't transform. Usually on a full moon, they can't help themselves. They transform and go wild. They didn't do that in this show, and I am so happy. But there's also a bad side to this show when it comes to that. They very, very rarely transform ever. So, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a second season because the first one done so well. So I'm assuming we'll get to see more of that then. But I also like the take of when you burn a werewolf, because naturally they can't transform into a half human, half werewolf. They just transform to a full-on wolf. But if they get burnt in a fire, they turn into a monstrous werewolf, and that's just, it's kind of cool. I've never heard that idea before, so it's new. It is always better to try something new than follow in line. Yeah, you're risking messing up and being way worse than just sticking to what people know, but when you do that and it does land, it makes you seem so much better. And the next thing I want to talk about of that they really done well was the characters and the relationships. You know how every teenage show, the main character always has to get a girlfriend, because the main characters are usually guys, but they always have to get a girlfriend. And of course it happens in this show as well, but it actually feels natural and it doesn't feel rushed. You get to the point and yeah, you are going finally, but at the same point it's not a actual stressed out finally, oh my gosh. But no, it feels right, and you're finally for the character, not finally for the story, if that makes sense. They didn't rush, and even the relationships that are just normal friend bases, those weren't rushed either. None of the relationships were rushed. They done well. Alright? You don't feel everything is so rushed and just not feeling right, but they done a good job with making these people feel real. And they actually feel like teenagers. You don't think they're all 30 some years old. They casted pretty well for this show, about said movie. But overall, I don't really have anything specific that was bad that I didn't like. And that's, to me, what kept me entertained, was there was nothing in this show that I didn't like. The thing I will say is, it's not the most craziest show ever. After watching this show, you're not going to run to your friend and be like, oh my gosh, you're not going to. But at the same point, there's not really anything in this show that I consider bad. I know there's people that will definitely say there's a million things wrong with it, but for me, there's nothing really in this show that just drives me nuts or just makes me not want to watch it. I mean, it's not a perfect show to no standard, but to me, it's very good for what it is, and I'd rate it a solid, like, 7, 8 out of 10. I mean, it's not the best show ever, but, you know, it's more of a 7, though. So, overall, I do recommend this show. It's a good watch, and hope for season 2. Well, hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe. And I know this was short, but I tried to have no spoilers in here, or at least any major spoilers that's going to affect the way you watch the show. But, yeah, if anyone wants me to do a deeper dive, just tell me in the comments, and I might, who knows, or I might not. I mean, it just depends. Like, if you send me a cookie in the mail, that definitely puts your chances up higher. So, yeah. And if you've listened to me this long, you deserve the cookie back. Alright, so, yeah.